Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has condemned the call for the group campaigning for the rescue of the Chibok girls to end their action. He also said that the attempt by security operatives to stop the protesters is not in the interest of democracy. Professor Soyinka was speaking at an event in Lagos, and he insisted that the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners are merely expressing their democratic rights.
When people demonstrate on behalf of the abducted children, over 200, nearly 300 children, whom we had sent on an errand, we sent those children to school to take their examinations, gathered them together, and they were abducted and disappeared from sight, abducted by the enemies, not only of this society, but of humanity in general. Demonstrations, protestations cannot be too much as long as those children are missing. You see, demonstrations are not merely an act, an address to governments. They're also an act of solidarity. And that is the right of all human beings to express solidarity on behalf of others. Those children, missing children, wherever they are, whatever is left of them, they are literate, they sometimes listen to radio. Wherever they are today, when their mothers, their parents, their relations demonstrate, however futilely, on their behalf, their morale, wherever they are, is boosted. That is a message I want to send to the security agencies of this nation, who are so quick, who get scared when 2 or 3 are gathered together in a cause. That's a message I have for them. Do not forget the missing children of Chibok.
Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. We cross over to Abuja now, and here's Linda Akigbe. Hey, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. The economic recession in the country will be short-lived as the government has the resources and will to implement suitable solutions. That's according to the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. He made this known today while speaking to journalists in Ede, Osun State, southwest Nigeria.
And the reasons for the recession are quite obvious. One of the most important reasons is that as of mid last year, as of February 2016, for example, we were generating 5,000 megawatts of power. That's the highest ever in the history of the country. In that same month, the vandalization of the pipeline started. So we lost 60% of gas and 60% of revenues. There is nowhere in the world, there is no economy that can lose 60% of its revenues and not go into some form of recession. And that's really what has happened to us. So I think that the recession in many ways can very quickly be resolved once we're able to resolve some of the issues around the concerning the pipelines, vandalization of pipelines. Once we're able to resolve that, if oil prices remain steady and the diversification that we're trying to ensure happens, we're trying to, for example, make sure that we're able to refine most of our petroleum products. So we're investing more in the refineries. We're asking private investors to come into the refining as well. If we're able to do that, 30% of what we import, petroleum products, will not be imported. So it means that our reserves, our foreign exchange reserves, will be maintained. If our foreign exchange reserves are maintained, our currency will improve. I don't think life will be bleak. And those who say that it will be bleak, simply, we must ignore them.
The National Council on Health is considering for approval the National Health Policy 2016, targeted at a successful implementation of the National Health Act 2014 and the achievement of the universal health coverage in Nigeria. The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, says the focus is to ensure speedy approval of the policy towards strategic inclusion in the 2017 budget. The National Health Policy, when approved, will mandate the revamping and construction of primary healthcare centers in each of the 10,000 political wards in the country over the next 3 years. Our correspondent Omelogo Nadi reports.
This National Health Policy 2016, under consideration by the National Health Council in Abuja, would be the third health policy to be developed and implemented in Nigeria after 1988 and 2004. The Minister of Health and convener of the Health Council meeting says its development became necessary following the trend of global health epidemics such as the Ebola virus and Nigeria's continued need to attain a universal health coverage and accessible health care.
We have become convinced of the need for a new national policy to reflect new realities and trends, including the unfinished agenda of the MDG and the new Sustainable Development Goals, emerging health issues, the provision of the National Health Act, the new PHC governance reform of bringing PHC under one roof, and Nigerians' renewed commitment to universal coverage.
Intense deliberations are expected over issues such as the development of the second National Strategic Health Development Plan and the role of states in the operationalization of the National Health Act. But beyond approval, implementation is key.
It is important to develop a lean, basic health package addressing just essentials. Starting small is a lesson learned from many countries. But most important is getting started and keeping focus on implementation to achieve results.
The new national health policy is expected to improve the health status of Nigeria with key targets of universal health coverage for at least 80% of Nigerians, the creation of a permanent link between primary, secondary and tertiary health care, and accessible health irrespective of income status or health condition, among other things. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
Hope of quick return to normal life has been rekindled for people displaced by Boko Haram insurgency in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria. This follows a partnership between the Yobe State government and the World Food Programme, as well as United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, to provide food and rehabilitative assistance to the IDPs in the state. The Deputy Governor of the state, Abubakar Aliyu, met with representatives of the humanitarian organizations to discuss the future of the partnerships.
Ever since peace began to return to Nigeria's troubled northeast region, humanitarian agencies have increased their activity, providing succor to the men, women and children displaced by the violence of Boko Haram. According to the Yobe State government, over 300,000 displaced persons have received aid in the form of food and water, as well as medical attention. In this meeting with the state's humanitarian partners, the Deputy Governor gives an account of the distribution.
The program has provided direct cash assistance of 17,000 naira each, 1,250 registered IDPs in Bade local government. In the same vein, it has also provided same financial assistance to 1,015 registered beneficiaries in Guru local government.
He also commends the World Food Programme for their assistance in increasing capacity for further humanitarian work in the state.
Let me also take this opportunity to commend the World Food Programme in supporting the establishment of Center for Research and Capacity Development on Humanitarian Study at the Yobe State University.
At the end of the deliberations, the humanitarian representatives from UNICEF and the WFP are impressed with the state government's data gathering system, promising to scale up assistance to the displaced people.
They have been preparing a reconnaissance of all what is needed, what has to be done, how many schools have been destroyed, how many health centers, how many boreholes, and so on.
One of the forms of assistance is cash-based transfers. So the people who've been displaced by the conflict receive money and they go to markets for food and non-food items. So that is already going on, but we need to do more.
It appears the response to better the lot of the internally displaced persons will improve because of promises to increase assistance.
That's all from Abuja. Back to you, Joma.
All right, thanks a lot, Linda. To legal matters, the first son of the late former governor of Kogi State, Muhammad Audu, was today arraigned before the Magistrate Court 2 sitting in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, for alleged armed robbery. Mr. Muhammad was arrested and detained last night after he honored the invitation of the men of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Lokoja. The late Audu's son is accused of criminal conspiracy, causing grievous hurt, mischief, and attempt to commit culpable homicide. Now, according to the prosecutor, Mr. Muhammad is allegedly responsible for an attack on his uncle, Mr. Yahaya Audu, after threatening to deal with him for collecting an award on behalf of his late father. In his response, counsel to the accused asked the court to grant his client bail, saying that there is nothing linking the alleged crime to the accused. The Chief Magistrate Al-Hassan Husseini thereafter granted the accused bail in the sum of 100,000 naira and a surety in like sum.